Right, so hello and welcome back to Books and Things, and welcome to another Victober video. And today I'm going to be announcing the Christmas Dickens Readalong. Over the last 2 years, I have been doing something called the Mega Dickens Readalong, and so have many of you. If you're newer to this channel and don't know what the Mega Dickens Readalong is, or perhaps I should say was, the Mega Dickens Readalong was a 2-year read-along in which we read all of Dickens's full-length novels in publication order, starting with The Pickwick Papers and finishing with the unfinished The Mystery of Edwin Drood. We started in October 2022 and we finished in September 2024. It has been a long project and it has been so fun. So I have now, as of a few weeks ago, finished rereading all of Dickens's novels in chronological order, and I read them all on audiobook, and it was a wonderful experience, and I've made videos about lots of them. I am a little bit behind in my videos and I do need to make a long, lengthy discussion analytical video about both Our Mutual Friend and The Mystery of Edwin Drood. They will be up at some point in the next few weeks / months. I'm catching up, and I'm also going to do like a big ranking of all of Dickens's novels by various categories across various tiers, and I also might do a video kind of talking about chronological reading and overall thoughts as well, but I'm still kind of gathering my thoughts together. But in the meantime, I wanted to announce a little addition, a little appendix, shall we say, to the Mega Dickens Readalong, and that is the Christmas Dickens Readalong. So Charles Dickens, in his life, wrote 14.5 novels, but he also wrote quite a lot of short stories and non-fiction, and he also wrote 5 Christmas novellas, which were all released in the 1840s, and are all really great. And I purposely didn't include the novellas in my Dickens read-along schedule and plan, partly because they're all very short, sort of most of them are under 100 pages, I would say, and also because I wanted to read everything in publication order, and it would have been quite hard to schedule the Christmas books at Christmas while also reading them in publication order. We would have ended up reading A Christmas Carol like in the middle of summer or something. And they also were published in sort of very different ways. His full-length novels were all serialized in magazines and journals, whereas his Christmas books were all published in one thin volume, really, really close to Christmas actually. Like most of them were published on like the 20th of December or something, which I think feels quite strange to us, you know, as modern readers now. Christmas novels start coming out from like September, so it's really interesting that Dickens's Christmas books were published in volume form like the week before Christmas. Anyway, the point of all that ramble is that I didn't initially include Dickens's 5 Christmas novellas in the Mega Dickens Readalong schedule, and also I'm not quite ready for the Mega Dickens Readalong to be over, and I feel like a few of us who have been doing the Mega Dickens Readalong feel like that too, and also some people who didn't take part in the Mega Dickens Readalong might welcome the chance to read some Christmassy Dickens things that are quite short and relatively accessible. So I thought this year I would do a Christmas Dickens Readalong, and that is what I'm announcing today. As I said, Dickens wrote 5 Christmas novellas, all published in the 1840s, and we're going to be reading them in publication order, one a week in the run-up to Christmas. As I said, they're all pretty short. In this edition that I have here, Dickens at Christmas, most of them are sort of between 80 and 90 pages, and they are all really enjoyable. Some are much more festive than others, but I do really like them all. So as I said, we're going to be reading them in publication order, and this is the schedule that I have set out for us. So week beginning the 18th of November, we'll be reading A Christmas Carol, which was published in 1843. Week beginning the 25th of November, we'll be reading The Chimes, which was published in 1844. Week beginning the 2nd of December, we'll be reading The Cricket on the Hearth from 1845. Week beginning the 9th of December, we'll be reading The Battle of Life from 1846, and week beginning the 16th of December we'll be reading The Haunted Man and the Ghost Bargain from 1848. So yes, this does mean getting fairly festive from mid-November, and we are starting with A Christmas Carol, which is definitely the most festive of them all, but I did want to keep within the spirit of the Mega Dickens Readalong and read them in publication order, because that has been a really fun, interesting aspect of the Mega Dickens Readalong, and it might be a fun way to look at Dickens's Christmas novellas too. And also, A Christmas Carol was the first one and it was hugely successful, and I'm not saying that every Christmas novella afterwards was Dickens trying to live up to A Christmas Carol, but it is quite interesting to see how the texts after A Christmas Carol hark back to A Christmas Carol. So, how the Christmas Dickens read-along will work. As I said, we'll be reading those books on that schedule, and all the discussion will be taking place on Discord, on the same Discord server that the Mega Dickens Readalong has been hosted on. I will leave links to that down below. While the Mega Dickens Readalong has been going on, I have been making 2 videos for each book. A video at the start of the month or 2 months when we're reading that book, kind of introducing you to that Dickens novel, saying why you might want to read it, and then a video at the end with all my reflections and kind of detailed thoughts. I'm not going to make 2 videos for every Christmas Dickens novella because that seems a bit much for quite short books, but I am going to make a video at the end of each week, or I suppose maybe at the start of the next week, wrapping up my thoughts about each of the Christmas books, and I feel like that should be really fun. And hopefully there'll be plenty of festive discussion on the Discord server too. And so because I'm not going to do those introductory videos for each of the Dickens Christmas novellas, I thought I would introduce you to the 5 novellas in this video, and you can ponder whether you want to read all of them or just a few of them, or how you want to take part in this read along if you do, over the next month before we get started in November. So A Christmas Carol from 1843 kind of needs no introduction. I feel like A Christmas Carol is Dickens's most famous work, and you know, Scrooge has entered popular culture as a character in such a massive way. I feel like plenty of people do know the story of A Christmas Carol from adaptations such as A Muppet's Christmas Carol, but to be honest, The Muppet's Christmas Carol is a really, really excellent adaptation of A Christmas Carol. If you don't know, A Christmas Carol follows the character of Ebenezer Scrooge, who is not very nice, and on Christmas Eve he is visited by various ghosts who help him learn how to mend his ways, and it is entirely delightful, very, very fun, and like a wonderful example of Dickens's writing. If you've never read anything by Dickens before, I think A Christmas Carol is a great place to start because you probably do have some sense of the story, and if you read A Christmas Carol, you will know whether or not you like Dickens's writing style. Like, I do feel like it's very typical of Dickens in many ways, and it is excellent. Then there is The Chimes from 1844. Now, I do not love The Chimes. It is my least favourite of Dickens's Christmas novellas. I feel like he was very much trying to replicate A Christmas Carol, and it doesn't really work quite as well. But The Chimes is kind of a New Year story in a way, more than a Christmas story. And it tells the story of a man and his daughter, and upon New Year's Eve, when the bells start to ring, he sees sort of weird visions in the bells. I don't really remember it better than that, and I have read it twice, which maybe tells you that The Chimes is not the best of Dickens's Christmas novellas. There is The Cricket on the Hearth from 1845, which is not necessarily that festive, but is a really interesting, fun story about a newly married couple and the sort of complicated, doubtful feeling between them. They have got married fairly recently. He's a bit older than her. He isn't quite feeling confident in her affections, and we see their relationship and the goings-on of various other characters around them. I really like The Cricket on the Hearth. I think it is well worth your time. And then we come to The Battle of Life from 1846, a very different Christmas Dickens story. It takes place over a number of years, and there are sort of various scenes set several years apart, one of which is very, very festive and the others of which are less festive. But it's this really lovely story of these 2 sisters and their father and their father's ward. There are various complicated things going on between all of them, and there are some excellent minor characters. Like, there's a pair of lawyers who are just like such a joy to read about, and it's just really, really good fun. And then finally we have The Haunted Man and the Ghost's Bargain from 1848, which is my second favourite Dickens Christmas novella after A Christmas Carol. I think it is fantastic and so underrated. It's really, really, really good. This is another one that is pretty festive. It is set in the festive period, although it has a sort of like darker tone to it than A Christmas Carol, and it is about a man who is haunted by himself. And I don't mean that in his terms of his mind, but I mean he is haunted by a ghost, and the ghost is like the mirror image of himself, and he makes a bargain with the ghost and things go terribly wrong. And it's so good. Like, really, really, you should all read The Haunted Man. If you only join in for A Christmas Carol and The Haunted Man, then I mean, I'll be sad that you're missing out The Cricket on the Hearth and The Battle of Life, and maybe slightly sad that you're missing out on The Chimes, but it's not my favourite. Maybe I'll love it on my 3rd reread, we will see. But anyway, The Haunted Man, though, so good. Do please stick around and read The Haunted Man. And in general, I do think it is really worth your time to read Dickens's Christmas stories. They are really fun, and some of them are very festive. They're short and sweet, they're easy to follow. There is kind of ghostly fun in A Christmas Carol, The Chimes, and The Haunted Man. fan, so if you enjoy a bit of a ghost story, then that's really worth reading for. I feel like nowadays we associate ghost stories so much with Halloween, but in the Victorian period, a ghost story was something you told on Christmas Eve. Like Christmas Eve was the time for ghost stories, so a lot of Christmas stories from the Victorian period do tend to be a bit ghostly, which is really fun. And as I said, I do think the Christmas novellas are really strong. Maybe not the Chimes so much, but the other four I really, really love, and The Haunted Man and A Christmas Carol are just truly fantastic stories. I think this will be a fun read-along and a sort of, you know, mini version of the Mega Dickens read-along in the run-up to Christmas, so please do come and join us. I will leave the Discord server link down below, and the schedule and all the details will be there as well. That's all for now. Do please let me know down in the comments if you're going to take part in the Christmas Dickens read-along. Otherwise, thanks very much for watching, and I'll be back very soon with another Victober video.